Hey guys, welcome to Shower School Studios. It's Raven Wolf. We're here for another Friday deck list. This deck list, I have to warn you guys, is not going to be very nice. I would only play this with your buddies. Let them know. Don't take this to your LGS. This is just a deck I play with my buddies because I really like Liliana and I really like everybody just only top decking. So with the deck name, it is called Look Ma No Hands because nobody's supposed to have cards in their hand. Only top decking. So I will have to ask you guys for support. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Comment down below how you would like to change the deck, what you want to add to it, if you want to make it meaner, or if you think this deck is really mean. Hate on it all you want. Like I said, I played it with my buddies. They knew what I was doing. And if you're going to play this, again, play this with your friends and let them know what you're doing. Also, I'm not going to be doing my normal Saturday live stream. I'm going to Anime Fest in Houston to meet the voice actor of Ichigo from Bleach and Lelouch from Code Geass, John Youngbosh, I think is how you pronounce his name. One of my favorite voice actors. So I'm going to be doing that. And so yeah. So fun weekend for me. Going into it, guys. Again, deck name is Look Ma No Hands. We have Liliana, Heretical Healer as a commander. Lifelink, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile her, put her to the battlefield, transformed, and you make a 2/2 zombie. Flipping her over, +2, each player discards a card. Yes, including us, we have some value off discarding. -X, return target non-legendary creature card, revert mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. -8, you get an emblem. Whenever a creature dies, returns to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. Again, for recursion, we want to outvalue our opponents while having no cards in anybody's hands. Liliana, Dreadhorde General. When a creature you control dies, draw a card. +2, create a 2/2 zombie. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. So again, another mean one if we can ever get our ultimate. Mostly it's the +2 to get us some bodies, or the -4 for removal. Liliana Dark Realms. She is our land ramp. +1, search your library for a swamp. Put it into your hand after you reveal it. -3, target creature gets +X/+X, or -X/-X, until end of turn, where X is the number of swamps you control. -6, you get an emblem. Swamps you control have tap for 4 black mana. Liliana the Veil. +1, each player discards a card. -2, target player sacks a creature. -6, separate all permanents target player controls into 2 piles. That player sacrifices all permanents into a pile of their choice. Again, mass removal. Liliana Vess. +1, target player discards a card. -2, basically a Grim Tutor without the loss of life. -8 is a Riser of the Dark Realms. So we're going to take all creatures from all graveyards, put them back on our battlefield. Liliana, Waker of the Dead. Each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. -3, target player or target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield on your turn. It gains haste. Again, more recursion. For our creatures, we have Aklazotz, Deepest Betrayal, Flying Lifelink. When he attacks, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. Whenever an opponent discards a card, or discards a land card, you make a bat. Whenever it dies, transform it. Taps for a black mana. Pay 2 to black, transform them only if a player has 1 or fewer cards in hand and only as a sorcery. Archfiend of Ifnir. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each of your opponent's creatures. Archon of Cruelty. When it enters or attacks, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card, and loses 3 life. You draw a card and gain 3 life. So yeah, lots of value on this card. Bone Miser. Whenever you discard a creature card, you create a 2/2 zombie. When you discard a land card, you get 2 mana. When you discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. Again, more value of us discarding. Burglar Rat. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. Cabal Interrogator is a mana sink. Technically. X and black. Target player reveals X cards from his or her hand. You choose one of them. They discard it. And you can only do this as a sorcery. But again, it's a repeatable discard effect. Cat Burglar is the same thing. Target player chooses and discards a card. Containment Construct. Whenever we discard a card, we may exile that card from our graveyard. If you do, play that card this turn. Again, more value of our own discards. Corrupt Court Official. When it enters, target opponent discards a card. Dothy Voidwalker. Basically, we're going to be exiling everything our opponent discards. And we get to do it, or we can get it later on. Disciple of Phoenix. When it enters, target player reveals X cards, where X is our devotion to black. Choose one, they discard it. Dream Stealer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards that many cards. Dusk Mangler. As an additional cost to cast, we sack a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. When it enters, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. Ebon Dragon. When it comes into play, you may have target player discard a card. This is the pet card of the deck. I just really like this card. Gix Yawgmoth Predator. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. Again, it incites our opponents to attack each other. 4 and 3 black. Discard X cards. Exile top X card of target player's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. Doesn't say until end of turn, so as long as those cards are exiled, I guess. Got Eternal Bantu. We can sack any number of other permanents. Draw that many cards when she enters. Witchy Guys. She goes back to her library, 3rd from the top. Herald of Anguish. Beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card. Then we can pay 1 in a black, sack an artifact. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, so it's removal. And it's hand hate. Magus of the Coffers. 2 tap. Add black mana to your mana pool for each Swampy control. Maha. It's Feathers Knight. Flying Trample. Ward. Discard a card. Your creatures opponents control have base toughness 1. So really good for us. Massacre Girl. When she enters, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. When a creature dies this turn, each other creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Machias the Unhallowed. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So again, it's a way to get our creatures back. Necrogoyf. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Being of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card. And Madness, so we can get it out cheaper. Nezumi Informant. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. Op Agent basically stops our opponent from tutoring. Plague Reaver. We'll give it to one of our opponents, and basically it's to make our opponent sack creatures. Turgid is to steal our opponent's stuff. It's a hate card. Raven Man. Make our opponent, each opponent discard a card, and we get a bird. Then we have Tiny Bones. When our opponent discards a card, exile it from the graveyard with a stash counter on it. During your turn, you may play cards you don't own with stash counters on them from exile. And mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. Then pay 3 in a black. Each opponent discards a card. So yeah. Now we have Bad Deal. Basically, it's card advantage for us, hand hate for our opponents, and loss of life. Black Sun Zenith is a board wipe, or just lowering the board. Cabal Therapy, just a cantrip for hand hate. Dark Deal, each player discards all cards and then draws that many -1. So a lot of discard there. Delirium Schemes, basically just each player discards 3 cards. Doomsday Confluence, we're mostly going to do the each opponent discards a card, but we could also do the dialect one. Makes a 3/3 with Menace. Reanimate, Rise of the Dark Realms for our recursion. For our instance, we have Cabal Ritual for ramp, Dark Ritual for ramp. Entomb, basically throw something in the graveyard if we can reanimate it. Tragic Slip for removal. And Wake the Dead, bring all our creatures back and sack them at the ends. Hopefully something with good ETB effects. Alright, we have Altered Dementia. Mill our opponents so we can reanimate their stuff if we need it. Anvil of Bogarden. Hopefully get I want our opponents to give us discard triggers. Arcane Signet is a mana rock. Crypt Caller Chariot makes us something off our discard. Elixir of Mortality shuffles our stuff back. Helm of Obedience mills our opponents, and with Dothy exiles their entire deck. Jet Medallion makes our stuff cheaper. Lightning Greaves. Monument to Endurance is get value off our own discard. Soul Ring. Umbra Mantle to go infinite with Magus of the Coffers. Whisper Silk Cloak. Protect our commander and or something that needs unblockable, like the Dream Stealer. Banish Talent. When it enters, each opponent discards 2 cards unless they discard 1 non-land card. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player has 2 or fewer cards in their hand. They lose 2 life. And then we can level up to 3 at the beginning of your draw step. Draw an additional card for each opponent who has 1 or fewer cards in hand. Again, letting us get more card advantage. Core of Ambition, we become the Monarch for card advantage. And, of course, during our upkeep, each opponent will then start losing life unless they discard a card. Sorry, this change of weather's got me really messed up for my sinuses. Dance of the Dead for recursion. Necromancy for recursion. Necropotence for card advantage. Nowhere to Run for removal. Removes our opponent's hexproof and ward. Painful Quandary to punish our opponents for casting spells. Waste Not for our opponent's discard triggers. And for our lands, I kept it simple, but I'm going to change one thing right quick. Whoops. Rary Core Tower. So we have Cabal Coffers for ramp, Cabal Stronghold for ramp, Merry Landscape for ramp, Rary Core Tower to go with Necropotence, 28 Swamps, and an Urborg to go with the Cabal Stronghold Coffers, and yeah. So again, very simple deck, very straightforward. It's really mean. Sure, we'll go ahead and playtest this hand. We'll draw. We'll do an Urborg. Next turn, Cabal Stronghold. Waste Not. Next turn, Swamp. Commander. Next turn, Bop. We're going to do a Liliana. Add a little to counter. Give me that Swamp. Shuffle. Alright. Turn 5. That. And immediately we're going to do Necrogoyf. So we've pretty much gone on curve. And now our opponent's going to start discarding stuff. If they kill it, we flip our commander. So it's no big deal. Restart. Not bad. We draw a card for turn 1. We play a Swamp. Next turn, I'm going to do Swamp with an Arcane Signet. Next turn, we're going to do a Swamp. We're going to do a Court Official makes our target opponent discard a card, and then we'll do the Cabal Interrogator. Next turn, Swamp. I'm gonna tap for Commander, tap for Soul Ring, and we're gonna tap, activate Cabal Interrogator's effect, make our opponent discard 2 cards, or basically make our opponent reveal 2 cards, and do that. Next turn, I'll cast Turgid and do Cabal Strong Interrogator again, make our opponent reveal 2 cards. So basically a really good turn 5. Next turn, I'm going to cast Bantu. I'm going to sack the Court Official, and maybe our opponent's whatever that we got, to draw 2. Flips our Commander. I'm going to +2 my Commander. Everybody's going to discard a card. I'm going to discard the Dust Mangler. Actually, no, before we do it, we'll cast that, discard the Dust Mangler, and we'll draw another card. So yeah, pretty good for turn 6. And then turn 7, cool. Bogard. But I don't want the Bogard, so we're going to go up 2 more. Discard. Whoops. Draw a card. Not great. Probably going to do Dark Deal. Get a treasure and make your opponent lose 30 life. And with Dark Deal and Turgid on the board, it's just insane. Restart it. I don't think this one's that bad either. We'll draw. Urberg. Next turn. Swamp. Cabal Ritual. Commander. Next turn, we'll do Mirror Landscape, and we'll do Waste Not. Next turn, do a Swamp, crack Mirror Landscape, go get 2 Swamps from the deck. Next turn. Alright. This is where I want to start getting value. 5 mana to do Archfiend of Ifnir. If they kill it, we flip our commander over. Which, let's just say they do that. We'll say we'll go to end our turn next turn. They kill. We'll flip our commander over. Our turn, we're gonna play lands. And I guess what I want to do, yeah, there you go. We'll discard. Say we get some mana, we get 1 of each. So we draw a card, make a 2/2 zombie, and get 2 black mana. With this, we'll do Dreadhorde General. And then we'll do Monument to Endurance. There we go. Next turn, I'm probably just going to do Baleful Quandary. Start punishing my opponents. And then Jet Medallion. We'll activate that Liliana. Discarding a card. I'll say we draw a card. Makes our opponent discard whatever. Get the value off Waste Not. We'll +1. Make another 2/2 zombie. So yeah, pretty much value. And you see we're staying in there, but we also had card advantage. So yeah, not a bad deck, and I hope y'all guys enjoy if you do make this deck, and I'll see y'all again next time. Bye-bye.